What's up, everyone? We've got a shock veto win, a house split on the horizon, plus Rylie is once again under fire. We've got so much to talk about, so welcome to your live feed update. Right before we get started, if you are new around here, make sure that you hit the subscribe button right down there, folks. I am here every single day of the season giving you everything you need to know about Big Brother. So if you want to be the coolest Big Brother expert amongst your friends and family, then make sure you hit the subscribe button, because then I've got your back. I'm going to make sure that you know everything that's going on, from alliances to game talk to voting to strategies to alliances to you name it. I got you. Alright, so hit the subscribe button. And also, one more thing, hit the like button. See that little thumbs up down there? It takes all of 0.2 seconds just to click that little thing. And it really helps me out more than you even know with the YouTube algorithm. So there's two things there, folks. Subscribe, like. Let's get to the update. Question of the day now, folks. And because this house guest is going to be a focal point in today's update, I'm going to throw it to you, folks. How do you think Rylie is playing the game? Do you think he's doing well? Is he playing a good game? Could you see him winning? Let me know your thoughts on Rylie's game in the comment section below. Alright, folks, it's a juicy one today, so I recommend that if you haven't already, pour yourself out a nice cup of coffee and get settled down. If it's later in the day, maybe it's happy hour, do something more fun, or maybe just some water. Whatever tickles your fancy, folks. Get yourself a drink, settle down. It's a juicy one today. First of all, we are going to talk about the power of veto competition. Now, of course, with Lauren as the head of household, Kelly, Keanu, and Will are sat on the block. All four of those will automatically play in the veto competition. Picked on top of them were Ashley and also Vince. Again, I talked about yesterday, a very interesting scenario going in there, because Ashley was prized as the replacement nominee if one of them comes off, and Vince is the one who's kind of been pulling a few strings behind the scenes for Lauren. So very much key players there in the veto competition. Ashley did promise Will beforehand, if I win veto, you're coming down off the block. If that situation did happen, it would have meant that Lauren would have to pick another replacement nominee, which probably would have been Adrian, because Ashley would not be able to be nominated. But that scenario didn't happen, folks. We have the results of the POV, and the winner of the third power of veto of Big Brother 27 is Keanu. A massive congratulations to Keanu. Once again, he has survived the oncoming onslaught of the house. Those people want Keanu out, but he's not going anywhere. So a massive congratulations, whether you like him or not. He's done very well there. Well done, Keanu. He will pull himself off. That sounded wrong. He will pull himself off the block. He will pull himself off the block at the Power of Veto ceremony, and Lauren will have to name a replacement nominee, and that person is most likely 100%, 99.9, because you can never be sure, 99.9% going to be Ashley. As part of winning the Power of Veto, Keanu did also receive a prize in the form of getting to see a screening of the brand new animated movie, The Bad Guys 2. And this is interesting because he got to choose some people to come with him. And he picked the most motley crew of people possible. You get this, folks. He picked Ava to go with him. He picked Jimmy to go with him. And Rachel Rylie. I never would have guessed that. But if this means that he's trying to build social bonds and trying to kind of bridge the gap with people he doesn't have the most fantastic connections with, then good for him. Because I feel like it's rare that we see that. We see always people just taking their best friends, but no, it's a bonding opportunity. Who doesn't love going to watch a movie? It's the perfect, good for Keanu for doing that. I love that, and I hope he enjoys the screening, which will most likely be today. In terms of Vince, or Vinny, if you've been watching the live feeds, the cracks have started to show within his game. It's very interesting watching all the other house guests trying to put the pieces together, because he has put himself in a really good position where he's behind a bunch of people who have the power, and also people confide in him because people like talking to him. They feel like he listens to them, but people are starting to see the cracks. We're starting to see the cracks show. Will actually labelled him yesterday as the Godfather. That is not a label you want to get in Big Brother, and it's almost like a curse. You know, for any Shakespearean folks out there who've studied Shakespeare or even love Shakespeare for that matter, I had to do Shakespeare in school. It reminds me of a plague on both your houses. That word, the Godfather, he's got a long 2 months ahead of him if he wants to make it all the way now. That is a plague. Being labelled Godfather is a plague. That's going to be so difficult for him to navigate to the end now with that label, because it also started to spread like wildfire, and people are starting to put together the pieces that Vince is kind of making a lot of the moves behind a lot of people. I mean, I feel like Lauren's HOH is basically being ran by Vince again. It's a repeat of week 1 where you put the people up who, I guess, the house wants to do. You know, Lauren's been a really bad HOH. I mean, it hasn't damaged her game at all, so on a game level it works, but she hasn't really done much for, you know, taking out a big target or anything like that. She has basically, in my opinion, had it ran by Vince. But Vince needs to take a back seat, because, like I said, people are starting to notice it now, so much to the point where Rachel came out with this incredible one-liner in the morning. Here we go. This is a quote of the day, this. She's on the exercise bike. I'm telling you, we're getting so many iconic moments on the exercise bike of just the staring into camera, but she says, Vinny has got to go. He thinks he runs this house. Get the out of here. I'm a legend, a BB winner. No one runs this but me. If that doesn't tell you, folks, that the house is starting to turn on Vince and the cogs are starting to turn, I don't know what will. He has been riding the easy wave for these first few weeks, but finally people are clocking on. And now with the label of the Godfather and the wrath of Rachel Rylie coming for you, boy oh boy, it's going to be interesting to see how he navigates getting out these next few weeks. In an art imitates life moment, it was almost like watching just two parallels. I couldn't even believe it. You had Lauren and Ashley were in the bathroom together. And Lauren was living up to everything I've been saying all week. Ashley was talking to her and saying, and trying to talk game with her, or just at least trying to approach some kind of talking. Lauren was just kind of shutting everything down and saying, I don't really want to talk game. And I'm like, you're the head of household, for goodness sake. Imagine if Ashley was on the jury and Lauren's there asking for her vote in the final 2. Ashley could easily and respectfully just turn around. I would totally agree with her if she just turned around and said, look, I tried to talk game with you when you were the head of household, but you basically just told me, no, I don't want to talk game. Why should I give you my vote? You didn't really have any time for me in the game, you know, and that's totally fair. But the art imitates life part is the fact that Lauren has been living up to everything we've been saying all week. And guess where Ashley was while she was trying to have this conversation? In the shower. Ashley was in conversation with Will at one point in the day talking about Morgan. Ashley does not like the way Morgan has been speaking to her, and Ashley had the following to say, not to Morgan's face but to Will. She said, talking about Morgan, you're an effing model and a bartender. Don't talk down to me. Okay, so I think again this is just testament to Ashley. I feel like she is very condescending to people when she talks to them. And it feels like a bit of a personal attack. Like, to me, this is just me. This is Tom speaking right now, not TV Talks with Tom. You should never diminish somebody based on what their job is. Everybody's out here trying to make a living. Everybody's trying to do their own thing. And just because she's a lawyer and Morgan... Because Morgan's not even that. Morgan's a gamer. We know this. But she, of course, isn't saying that. She's keeping up that she's model, bartender. And to even diminish that, though, is just... It just doesn't feel nice to me. It doesn't matter who you are. Your job doesn't make you more important or make your opinions above somebody else. And that's the essence of what Ashley was saying there. It was basically saying, I'm a lawyer, so you shouldn't talk down to me, and you're just this, so you shouldn't talk down to me. Didn't like that. I haven't really liked Ashley for the majority of this game, and she just keeps proving to me time and time again why I'm really not a fan of her on a personal level. On a game level, she's done actually a really good job of those first few weeks, making her way past Showergate. That was totally out of her hands. That was a difficult thing to maneuver, and she did it very, very well. But the reason a lot of people aren't a fan of Ashley on a personal level is because of the way she talks to people, and this is just further evidence of exactly that. It's been known since almost week 1, or pretty much day 1, that Rylie is definitely attracted to Kat. He wants a slice of the action, and during a game of pool last night, he just said, I'm going to call this, welcome to the most vomit-worthy moment of the day. He was trying to play pool with Kat, who didn't really know how to play, and Rylie said the following. I don't even... How do I even look at the camera and say this? He says to Kat, Daddy will show you how to. Oh, God. Did I just say that? Did I just say that to the camera? Man, there's been some difficult things I've had to say to the camera over the years, but that might be the top of the list. And I know some people will be jumping on their beds right now after me looking at the camera saying that. But to the more level-headed of you, you will be also vomiting alongside me. So to those folks, take your mind out the gutter, you dirty buggers. Kat replied with, ooh. She did not like that at all. And that one did the rounds on social media a lot. People definitely had a lot to say about it. Or definitely threw up or vomited or, yeah, you know, all the above. I don't know how I'm going to recover from delivering that one to the camera, but I don't want to hear the words, Daddy will show you how to. I'm out. Bye. Okay, folks, this next update is arguably, in my opinion, probably the most important update of the season so far. These first few weeks have been a power struggle. We had Vince as the first head of household who didn't really establish a groove in the game. It's been a trend over, especially in the new era, I would say, where the first head of household makes a dent and then we kind of have a feel of the game. If the first HOH doesn't do that, then it's kind of just a bit kind of wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff. Think about Frenchie, you know, that kind of stuff. But then if you have a more solid first HOH, then things kind of go... Things are established more. And while no head of household has done that so far, Vince's was arguably a flop, Jimmy's was arguably definitely a flop, and Lauren's is, again, arguably a flop. Now, while it doesn't, you know, make for incredible viewing, it works for their game in the fact that they haven't really had to piss anyone off, but at the same time, it's also a situation in which if you don't have to piss anyone off, then it just means that there's underlying tension the entire time. That is just bubbling and bubbling and bubbling and eventually going to come to the surface. And that leads me on to this update. This tension is finally starting to reach the surface, folks. And I can tell you right now that we are looking at a split house. We have started to see two factions forming more clearly than ever. We've got a couple of people in the middle that are still making their minds up on which way they want to go. There's definitely a certain way they should go, but they might not do that. But here is the house split as following. So if you are a BB27 notebook aficionado, get your pen and paper out now. Looking at you, Rachel. I'm joking. By the way, about that cheating thing, I have no clue how this is going to play out. Like, because I don't really see Rachel cheating, but there's been a lot of talk about it over the past 24 hours. So I'm sure we'll get that cleared up in tonight's episode, the Sunday episode. But here is the house split, folks. On one side, we've got Ashley, Jimmy, Ava, Rachel, Mickey and Morgan, naturally. Mickey and Morgan, of course, they're my favourite too. That's just me, my personal picks coming out right now. And then on the other side, we've got Kat, Vince, Kelly, Lauren, Zach, Rylie and Adrian. Again, these are kind of loose right now because there are cores within those of people who are just like, I'm not really a massive fan of said person, you know, so as a result they don't. Kelly's not going to be as valued in a certain group, if that makes sense, because it's Kelly, you know what I mean? It's Kelly. She's that's kind of how I see it. But there's and again, I feel like people aren't massive fans of Jimmy after the Jimmy show last week, but that's like any alliance. There are people on the outs and there are people on the ins, but then in the middle we've got these two gentlemen. It's Will and Keanu. It's tough because Keanu doesn't really have a true alliance in the house because I feel like everybody's just been putting him up as the easy one because there's people on both sides of that house that have decided to nominate Keanu, right? And as a result, it's going to make it hard for him. But if I'm judging by who he picked to go to the screening with to watch The Bad Guys 2, who knew an animated movie could bring everyone together, then it would seem that he would go with side one, on the Rachel Rylie side of all things, which would be unexpected. But I'll tell you what, folks, that enemies to lovers trope, where if Keanu and Rachel hated each other the entire time, but then they put their hands together and said, okay, we got to do this for the good of our games, it would kind of be like an Avengers-esque moment, you know, two big personalities who know how to piss people off come together to work for the greater good. That would be interesting. And then you've got Will. Again, Will has been nominated by both sides of the house, so he's split as well. But I really don't really know where this is going to go. I think I don't know if this is just my personal pick, but I feel like Will and Keanu would go better with the Rachel side, with Mickey and Morgan and whatnot, because I feel like there's more wiggle room with those guys, whereas the Vince, Kat, Lauren side, it's very much the typical modern alliance that we've seen of let's do what the house wants and let's put up these people who, you know, aren't in our group, you know, and that's that has been dissolved a little bit in modern day Big Brother, where people have kind of been a bit more fluid in terms of who they work with, but this feels a little bit more like the season 19, season 20, season 21, season 22 kind of era, where it's just like this group of people get together and there is absolutely no wiggle room whatsoever. But that is the split sides of the house right now. We will see where it takes us as the week goes on. But again, like I said, folks, that to me is probably the most important update of the season so far. That is all of your live feed updates for today, folks. I thoroughly hope you all enjoyed watching. I want to thank everybody who's been along with this season so far with me. We've got a couple of super thanks before we send things out, and I've got some ending remarks and all that kind of stuff if you want to stick around for that. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody again for your continued support so far, for the folks who've joined my Patreon, to the folks who've bought me a coffee and sent in a super thanks. Y'all are the beating heart of this channel, and you're what keeps me going. And like I always say, you're not just helping out the channel, you're helping out me, you're helping out Tom on a personal level, and I can't thank you all enough for that. But we're gonna run through the super thanks before we wind things down. So first of all, we've got the amazing Marie Carnley. Marie Carnley, of course, long-time supporter of the channel and a member of the channel as well. Thank you so much, Marie. I appreciate you, my wonderful lady. I hope you have the best day ever, and I'm sending you a big hug and a big kiss from Tom. Thank you so much, Marie. I appreciate you, my darling. And then we've got the great David Kushmar. Of course, it wouldn't be a super thanks segment without David Kushmar, of course, another legend on the channel who is always supporting so kindly. We appreciate David so much. David says, "Hi Tom, SummerSlam is just around the corner next week." Yeah, I'm very excited about that. Just WWE talk for the folks who are into that for a second. I'm wondering if John Cena's gonna turn heel again soon. I'm thinking about that, but yeah, right around the corner. Some Big Brother talk. Okay, so Lauren is the week 3 HOH. Let's see what happens in this week. Kelly has a chance to win the veto this week and take herself off the block. Yeah, she didn't win it. How's she going to navigate it? What do we think, David? Do you think she can navigate her way through? Mickey should be the next HOH. Me too. I would love that. Or Rachel. I want to see that side of the house, especially since it's a house split now. I want to see that side of the house take control, because I feel like right now they're slightly outnumbered because the numbers are more fluid over there, whereas that other side is solid as a rock, and as a result, I want to see a crack down the middle. Plus, Vince and Lauren are on that side, and they played too safe, and Jimmy again, he played too safe as well, but there's 2 of them on that side and only Jimmy on one side. So the complacent people who don't make moves, that's where I want to see a crack in, just on a personal level. So on the Vince side of the house is where I want to see it smashed down the middle. She doesn't need her special power because it would be useless to use. Yeah, I think she just needs to win HOH. That would be awesome if Mickey did that. Keanu needs to play better. Yeah, he's got the chance to. He keeps getting himself off the block. Maybe this is the week, and I know I talked about it in this video, but maybe this is the time where he kicks into gear and actually starts to make those bonds, because some people get off to a slow start to Big Brother, but then they're off to the races. Who knows if Keanu comes through and wins this season? Very unlikely, but it's always fun to play what if. Let's have a look. Where was I? Okay, if Ashley wins the veto, then the nominations will stay the same. Yeah, no, she said she was going to take down Will, but we'll see. If she actually, we don't know if she would have done that, but Keanu's obviously going to take down himself. Vince has to get his second win if you don't want to be the next target. That is the truth. Don't know if Rachel is caught by cheating. We'll see this week. Yeah, again, I'm tuning into the episode tonight for sure to see if that gets addressed at all. Can't win if you cheat the game. Exactly. Tom, on the next eviction night, get yourself a steak dinner and Starbucks coffee and eat some M&Ms. Always great advice from David. I appreciate you, David Cushmore, ever so much. Have the best day, sir. Sending you a big hug, and I hope you have an amazing evening and enjoy the episode tonight. But folks, that is all we've got for today. If you feel like buying me a coffee, please consider sending in a super thanks, or I've got my PayPal link in the description if you want to send something through that, or you prefer to do it through that. But folks, in the meantime, I hope that you're all staying safe, staying positive, and staying healthy out there. And remember to be kind to one another. That's a really important one. But in the meantime, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, do all of that wonderful stuff. But until your next live feed update, I've been your host, Tom Vasey. Good night.